It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. We have a number of great posts related to growth and marketing. So let's take a look at what we're going to be covering today. Olivia, Kory lays out 3 points about measuring advertising effectiveness and the rigor, the scientific rigor we should be applying to marketing. Then Omar Akhtar, founder of Benchmarker, finds that B2B SaaS companies that met their growth goals invested more in brand awareness. And then I cover an article from Hubspot, which ranks really high for organic search around what is go-to-market strategy that actually takes sort of the wrong approach to marketing. And so I want to dive into that. And then finally, Clare Schmitt, who's a former colleague of mine, talks about storytelling and leadership. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's take a look at this post from Olivia Kory. She starts off by saying paid media is often the largest expense on your P&L. It's easy to lose sight of this and chalk up the attribution wars, as they're known on Twitter, to a silly debate or a waste of time. But a few percentage improvement on your paid media efficiency might be worth millions or tens of millions, depending on your size of business. Now, I don't know who's watching this video. I mean, a lot of you probably don't have marketing budgets that size. And so, I mean, the cost savings may not be that as significant as she's laying out here. But still, you want to be as efficient as possible. And you definitely don't want to be wasting your money on things that aren't going to be effective. And so she says it's a worthwhile investment to try to cut through all the noise and find the true north. And she boils it down to three core principles that she follows. Be skeptical of anyone who has a financial incentive to deliver good news or grow your ad spend. She says, when I first joined Netflix and ran controlled experience, it felt like the red pill moment in the Matrix. So much of the reporting you see out there from vendors and some agencies is more of an illusion than reality, with all of them taking credit when your business is doing well. So there's two key points here. Is one, yes, these vendors and agencies do this all the time, so they know how to craft a really compelling and good story that makes it look like they're doing a terrific job. I mean, just an example I share all the time and commented on yesterday is combining brand with non-brand spend for paid search, and the numbers look great. But is that really making an impact on your business in terms of revenue? And then the other thing is taking credit when your business is doing well. I mean, there's so many factors into driving growth, and some of these tactics can be beneficial. But if your business is doing well, and as a result, some of these other tactics are doing well too, should they really be getting credit for that? And that's where her next point comes in. Search for the true causal effects. Incrementality is such a big buzzword now, is often so misused that it doesn't mean anything. Attribution built on correlation has become even less reliable since iOS 14. And iOS 14, for privacy reasons, hid a lot of the attribution. And so it's making it more difficult for marketers to understand what's going on. Experiments establish causation by introducing a control group so you can see what would have happened anyway. Since you still need a more real-time view of performance, use experiments to calibrate your day-to-day attribution. And I will say, I mean, this is great. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of experiments, but if you say I'm going to run an A/B test and want to understand the impact on your revenue, that can be really hard for smaller B2B SaaS companies. You just don't have enough success events to be able to get to meaning quickly. Or you may not even have enough users to your website to get to meaning quickly. And so testing is still important, but you have to think about how you set up your tests and what your success events are going to be to try to get to meaning quickly. I mean, you just can't have one test run for an entire year and still not get to significance. That's not a way to grow effectively. Then she says, prioritize scientific rigor. I can't tell you how important it is to sweat the details. There's so much you can miss if you don't have a background in data science and statistics. Read vendors who offer all-in-one solutions or claim they have solved this problem with a magic pixel or something. Dig in. Achieving both accuracy and precision in marketing measurement is very, very hard. We work with PhD economists and world-renowned professors on this stuff, and even they will say marketing measurement is extremely difficult for a whole host of reasons. And so, I mean, a lot of you out there who are watching this video won't have a PhD economist that you're working with. You won't have a data scientist on your team. Your team's just not that big. I mean, most of the companies that we work with, don't have anyone who's solely focused on data science. I mean, just establishing basic reporting can be challenging. So what do you do? I mean, there's a few things I'd recommend. Is one is when you're out there on LinkedIn, take a look at what's being shared and make sure that there is data, that the methodology they use to achieve that data is there. And then if there's examples of how it was repeatable, those are three things. It doesn't guarantee it's going to work for you, but it'll make it more likely. So if you're thinking about testing out a new strategy or tactic and you're reading something on LinkedIn, make sure those things are in place. And then find trusted resources out there that you believe in that are doing those sort of things and follow them. I mean, you're just not going to have time to go through or the resources to do data science the way that she's proposing here. So you're going to have to find trusted people who are providing trusted information to you. So she also linked some articles here, which I found very interesting and will share in the future, but definitely worth taking a look at this post. All right, next up, Omar Akhtar, who is the founder of Benchmarker. And I do love benchmarks. I mean, in another post, he raises a critical point, which is make sure you're comparing your benchmarks against companies of your size and industries. But this post was interesting. He says, here are the numbers. In our research, we asked B2B SaaS companies how they distribute their marketing budgets among goals like brand awareness, demand generation, sales enablement, post-purchase engagement, and account-based marketing. Overall, B2B SaaS companies spend about 27% of their marketing budget on brand awareness and health. They spend slightly less on demand and lead generation and 20% on sales enablement, 14% on post-purchase marketing, and 11% on account-based marketing, which I find is interesting. I don't know, 27% of their budget on brand awareness and health seems a little high to me. I see a lot more focused on the demand and lead generation side. But he goes on to say, however, companies that didn't hit their growth and revenue goals last year spent about 31% of their budget on demand generation, about 25% on brand awareness and health. In contrast, companies that exceeded their goals had it the other way around, spending 29% on brand and 23% on demand. So, I mean, the takeaway here is, and you can look at the chart. I'll zoom in here. So here is all companies exceeded growth revenue goals. So 28% was on brand awareness, did not meet growth revenue goals, 25%. Now that it's interesting that the data is moving in that way. Of course, this is the difference between the two is relatively small. I mean, we're nowhere near, the Benet Field 60-40 or the 95-5. So in terms of difference in spend, but it is interesting to see that there is some sort of correlation here. Now, one of the points is this is not necessarily causation. Like, we're not saying that this data does not necessarily show that investment in brand is leading to meeting your growth goals. But it is another data point, an interesting data point to consider, and something as you think about your marketing budgets, maybe you should be investing in brand. I mean, the accumulation of data around investing in brand is significant enough. That's definitely worth considering. And here's another data point. So anyway, go check that out. Definitely interesting stuff. Next, I want to take a look at this article from Hubspot. And the title is What is a Go-to-Market Strategy, GTM Plan, Template, and Examples? And like I said, this ranks very high for organic search. I think it's like the second or third search result when we say, what is a go-to-market strategy? So this is being seen by a lot of people. And it's a very detailed article about how to set up your go-to-market strategy. I mean, there's a lot of information within here, and a lot of it's great. And so I don't really have an issue with the article as a whole. What I do have an issue with is the way that they address two critical factors, the most important factors in your marketing success. And the first one is establish product market fit. And they don't really address establishing product market fit. They talk about messaging around product market fit, but they don't talk about the need or how to do product market fit. And this is one of the most important factors in terms of go-to-market success. And so I understand this article isn't about product market fit, but it should be addressed in more detail and highlight the importance of this, because it is so important. You are not going to be successful with your go-to-market strategy if you don't have product market fit. And so just a paragraph about it that says that doesn't even talk about product market fit really is not good. And so and then the other thing is on the related is the another absolutely critical factor to your success in your go-to-market strategy is building brand awareness. And they say build brand awareness and demand generation with impact, and they don't talk about that at all. And it's fine. I mean, this article is about your planning your go-to-market, and so you're not going to spend a ton of time about building brand awareness. But this article is kind of a symptom of what's going on in marketing today. Everyone thinks if I lay out this go-to-market strategy, it's going to be successful, but they don't address product market fit and brand awareness, which are like the two most critical things to address. Those have to be addressed. You won't be successful. You can have, I mean, this article is perfect. You can spend all this time planning out your go-to-market strategy. You can go into great detail. You can dot every I and cross every T. But if you don't put the time in brand awareness and product market fit, it doesn't matter. And so this article is a perfect representation of that it's really lengthy, has a ton of detail about how to do go to market, but just barely addresses the two most key factors in being successful in marketing. And so don't do this. Don't take this approach to marketing. Don't go through and spend, hours and hours and tons of resource and money on your tactics if you don't address these two key things. So anyway, I mean, I definitely check out the article from a go-to-market perspective, but make sure as you're planning out your marketing, as you're doing your marketing, you don't just say, I'm going to devote a couple of seconds to product market fit and brand. That's not going to work. And you'll find that you will not be successful taking that approach. Okay, and finally, like I said, this is a former colleague of mine, Clare Schmitt, and she talks about the power of storytelling and leadership communication. And this goes back to a previous video I did where I was saying storytelling is so important. You need to think about the different use cases. And so this is a great one, like using storytelling in leadership. I talked about board reports, selling, your brand, but is also important for leadership. So I'm glad she highlighted this. And she starts off by saying why storytelling resonates in leadership. Storytelling transcends mere conversation. It is an engagement tool that captivates the imagination and drives deeper connections between leaders and their teams. Unlike dry facts or statistics, stories can elicit empathy, create resonance, and leave a lasting impression on listeners. A leader sharing a personal anecdote or narrative humanizes their message, making it more relatable and memorable to the audience. By tapping into emotions such as hope, determination, or perseverance, leaders can inspire their teams to overcome challenges and strive for excellence. So that's terrific. That's all great things that we want to be able to do as a leader. And so she just maps out these 4 areas that storytelling can help with: emotional connection, simplifying complexity, enhancing retention, meaning people retain the information more, and encouraging alignment. And alignment's critical. A well-told story can illustrate the company's vision in a way that aligns the team's efforts. It helps employees see where they fit within the larger narrative and understand the impact of their roles. And she says storytelling in action. She brings up Steve Jobs and Howard Schultz, who both use storytelling as leaders, and it made them more effective. So how do you implement storytelling in your leadership style? And she lays out these 6 points. Know your audience. So you want to be able to address your audience where they are. Be authentic. Focus on the core message. Encourage participation. Practice makes perfect. So like I said, I'm a terrible storyteller. I need to work on it more. Practice makes perfect. And be yourself. So be who you are as you tell your stories. It'll make them resonate much more. And she says, as this saying goes, those who tells the story rule the world. So storytelling, of course, I love it. And here's another use case where it's so important is to actually use it as part of your leadership effort. So thanks, Claire, for sharing that. Okay, that's it for me.